Today's video is sponsored by LG. So this is not one of the regular places that I film. Background might look a little different from what you're used to. That's because I'm actually at my brother's place right now, because this TV setup behind me has been in need of an upgrade for a long time, which it now has thanks to this brand new 75-inch LG QNED mini LED TV, which if you're at all curious about right off the bat, I do have linked down below in the description. Now, of course, whenever I'm talking about TVs in my gaming setups, I'm entirely laser focused on its use in gaming. That is what I ultimately care about. Yeah, sure, I'm gonna watch TV and the occasional movie on it, but gaming is always the #1 primary focus. And with my brother, we're gonna go a little more varied here. He still plays games. I mean, part of the reason why I play games in the first place is because he and I grew up playing stuff together. But as time has gone on, he's a little more focused on casual gaming, doing some co-op stuff, revisiting a lot of his favorite retro classics. I mean, you can see in the setup behind me that we have the Super Nintendo Classic Edition as one of the things set up. And so, of course, especially with me involved, gaming is an important aspect of this TV that we're going to focus on. We also want to make sure this is a good fit for him as far as something that's going to be used for a lot of television and movie consumption as well. And it's with these considerations in mind that this QNED mini LED TV is a great fit for him. Let's talk about why. First off, mini LEDs. Now, this is actually a relatively new technology. You might not have heard a lot about these just yet. Mini LED is basically the latest version of LCD TVs that is getting a lot closer to OLED technology. Basically, the LEDs that are being used to light up the panel in this LCD TV are much smaller than they are in most others. This gives a far larger number of dimming zones that allows for a more refined control over really fine-tuning an image to have great contrast between its highs and lows, something that you don't really see on more traditional LED TVs. Now, of course, when compared to an OLED TV, that allows you to light up every individual pixel, which does give those really deep dark blacks that OLED is popular for, but there's some advantages that mini LED offers in comparison that I think is much better for this setup. First off, mini LED in general is just a lot more affordable. Yes, it is on the higher end of LCD TVs, but compared to OLEDs is a lot more approachable, and mini LED TVs are also capable of achieving much higher peak brightness. Now, another thing about my brother is that he cares a lot about aesthetic. He wants his place to look put together, he wants it to look tidy, he wants everything to look clean, and most importantly, just really good, which this TV is able to help fill out this setup. Part of the design of this TV is that it does have a very small bezel around the edges of the TV on the top and sides, but just a little bit thicker on the bottom, and the TV itself is very thin, so in this wall mount setup we have going on, it looks really good against the wall. Especially since the extra time has been taken to do some cable management and feed them through the wall, you're able to have this really clean look where the TV is floating against the wall without any kind of surrounding cables or things attached to it. There are two main things that come together to really help make this TV look as good as it does for both gaming and movie watching, which is that it is a quantum dot nanocell display and what LG calls Full Array Dimming Pro. This is the first LG TV that combines both nanocell and quantum dot technology, allowing for some really brilliant, beautiful looking colors that really gives you the most out of any image being displayed on it. Meanwhile, Full Array Dimming Pro, which is basically a reference to the mini LED technology present in the television, is again what really helps give it that maximum contrast. More dimming zones means more control over really emphasizing which areas of the image need to be as dark as possible and really giving that extra bright oomph where it needs to happen. Simply put, darker blacks and brighter brights where it matters on the image. All of this is enhanced by LG's AI technologies thanks to the processor in the TV, the Alpha 7 Gen 4 AI processor 4K, which is basically constantly analyzing what is going on with the image on your screen, the sounds coming out of it, and is constantly making little adjustments and refinements to make sure that you're getting the best quality picture and sound possible out of the TV. All of this is basically really fancy talk of just saying that this TV looks and sounds great. And there's a number of additional functions and kind of more focused aspects that really does allow it to fine-tune itself for either movie watching or gaming, the two main things that my brother's really going to be juggling between. Now, on the gaming side of things, there's a lot of features that I've talked about numerous times on this channel that are all covered. It has HDMI 2.1 ports, so it is able to support up to 4K 120, which with his particular setup right now isn't going to be getting fully leveraged, but if he does decide to at some point upgrade to his Series X, or maybe pick up a PS5, I know there's a few upcoming titles that might might change his mind very soon, like the recent reveal of Street Fighter 6. In which case, with those systems, he's going to be able to take advantage of those very high resolutions simultaneously with high frame rates. There's a lot though that he's still able to take advantage of with the Series S. This TV does have an auto low latency mode, so it's making sure that you're getting the lowest amount of delay possible between the inputs on your controller and what's happening on TV. You would not believe the number of times that a game might feel a little unnecessarily more difficult than normal, and the biggest reason is that your inputs just aren't being read as fast as they should be, so it's great that it's able to immediately detect, oh, you're on a gaming device, let's go ahead and make sure that latency is as low as possible. On top of that, like with some of LG's other TVs, this does come with game optimizer settings, where basically you have a dedicated subset of settings that are fine-tuned specifically for gaming in mind, so you can pick picture profiles that make the most sense for specific types of games rather than having to fine-tune it yourself going through every single individual setting. AMD FreeSync is also included in this TV, so the main important takeaway there is that you are capable of making use of variable refresh rate on the Xbox, so any games that might have slightly more unsteady frame rates, maybe they tend to dip and move around a little bit more, the image is going to be smoothed out so it's not quite as jarring, and it also helps improve, again, that feeling of input latency and giving you that fast response time that you really need. Now, lastly for gaming, and this actually does go over into the movie watching experience side of things as well, this TV does also support both Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, features that the Xbox Series S is able to take advantage of. If you're not really familiar with what those are, basically Dolby Vision is the bigger, better version of HDR. It's able to get you that really good color variety and details of colors in very bright or very dark areas, which again, with how bright this TV can get, adds some really nice details. Meanwhile, Dolby Atmos is basically the sound companion of Dolby Vision, just really giving you the best audio experience you can out of your games. As for movie watching, again, Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos are very important to make sure that those movies that are taking advantage of those things are going to give you the best image and sound possible, but on top of that, this TV also offers what's known as a Filmmaker Mode. Basically, there's a lot of different post-processing techniques that TVs add on that usually gives you a little better experience with things like watching live sporting events or television, but it's not stuff you always want to have on for watching a movie. A particularly notorious thing that people always complain about is motion smoothing. So what Filmmaker Mode does is that while it's activated, it's turning off all the post-processing techniques that you don't need to have on. And instead, it's focused on ensuring that the movie is being presented in whatever manner it was intended to be. So as far as resolution, aspect ratio, frame rate, colors, it's really trying to preserve the actual core vision that the original director had and make sure that you're watching the movie right, as opposed to something that's been modified in some way. You know, as far as the stuff that I regularly cover and what I really care about here, I think the biggest thing about this setup is how the Series S is able to shine. You know, in terms of using it for his media consumption, he's able to still watch 4K content, take advantage of Dolby Vision, take advantage of Dolby Atmos. And for regular gaming, whether that's just messing around with different stuff on Game Pass or going back to play an old favorite that's available via backwards compatibility, this TV is going to help ensure that games look as great as possible. A lot of people tend to get hung up on what the base system is and just think, oh, well, you know, it's a Series S, not a Series X, therefore it's not going to look great. No, that's not the case. A really important part of this conversation is also what display you're using in tandem with it. And so yes, while upgrading to a Series X would leverage some additional upgrades over what he's already seeing right now, this TV is really ensuring that he's getting the most out of what the Series S is capable of and still getting some great looking gaming. I gotta say how much I love the Series S looks in a setup. It's just such a cleaner looking system compared to a lot of others, and in the lineup back here with the little mini Super Nintendo and the Nintendo Switch ready to go docked, I just think it really fits the overall vibe of this look and setup much better. So that's all the cool stuff my brother now gets to take advantage of with this TV upgrade. Again, thank you so much to LG for sponsoring today's video. If you're interested in learning more or maybe even want to pick up one of these LG QNED mini LED TVs, I do have a link below down in the description. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button to let me know. Hit thumbs down if you didn't, just because you don't see the ratio. I still do, and it's good information. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you guys later.